Okay, good morning and welcome to the September Mayor and City Managers Press Conference. We'd like to start off a little bit about talking about some visitors that we had recently here to the city of Topeka. I'll let City Manager talk a little bit more, maybe in some detail about that, but we did have a city-to-city visit of a group from New Braunfels, Texas. They came to see what Topeka has going on for it because they really have been keeping track of our growth and our expansion and our collaboration regionally. And they stopped off in Lawrence first and then came here to Topeka and got a chance to talk to a number of the people. The city manager, who's also named Robert, coincidentally. But yeah, if you get a chance to visit a little bit, if you could talk a little bit about some of the people you visited with in that group.
Yes, sir. So our partners at the Greater Topeka Partnership actually hosted the intercity visit. As the mayor mentioned, it was a group of folks from New Braunfels, Texas. It included members of their Chamber of Commerce, members of their city council. The mayor actually got to meet their mayor as well. Yeah. The city manager in New Braunfels, his team. And then other folks involved with their chambers, developers, et cetera. And so they really had an opportunity when they visited with us to meet members of the partnership, the Greater Topeka Partnership, members of our development community. I know they spent some time with Advisors Excel. They had a nice tour of the State House. Yeah, it was a good visit. They definitely saw some synergy with some of the things that we're trying to do here. New Braunfels has a population very similar to ours. They have development features such as a river, their downtown, et cetera. And so it was a good trip. Have to give a shout out to Bob Ross, the interim chamber president, for putting that together. And I think we definitely see some value in even maybe potentially going down to visit New Braunfels and see what they're doing down there. So yeah, so I thought it was a good trip. Anytime we have an opportunity to swap ideas and visions in other cities with ours, I think it's a benefit. And again, to everybody who visits Topeka always seems to leave, with their eyes wide open, and we always get a lot of kudos and positive feedback on the things that we've done and that we're continuing to do.
It exposes you to a whole different group of people who get to see us in a different way. And I know one of the things that popped up, and we talked a little bit about it this morning, that in that group was a Texas housing developer. And he really liked Topeka. And he made it clear that if we could find the right property for him, he'd love to come to Topeka and develop a housing development here. Mm-hmm. So when you bring people in like that, it's not just a feel-good thing. It exposes you to different markets, and it exposes you to potential investors. So it's always a pleasure to welcome people from other parts of the country, because we really do think of us as acting regionally. So it's not just about the city limits of Topeka. So it makes it really an enjoyable experience. So thank you, City Manager. Yes. One of the things I want to talk about today is a little bit about, I know the City Manager has some of this on his list, but we had an event out at the Westridge Mall for the community to come out and meet the new incoming Topeka Police Department recruits. We may have talked about that before, but I just want to reemphasize the size of this recruit class, because it's beginning to grow larger and larger, which is encouraging to see young people looking at law enforcement as a career here in the city of Topeka. I was impressed by the diversity of the recruits and by the wide variety of experience and career backgrounds that they bring to the city. Sometimes you just really don't get a feel for who the people are behind the badges, because they come from very different backgrounds and life experiences. But I'm really encouraged by it. And along those lines, I'd like to remind the public that the next exam for police officer entry level is October the 3rd. So anybody else who is thinking about it, locally, regionally, or out of state, who has looked at Topeka and would like to be a part of Topeka's public service team, October the 3rd is the next opportunity to take an entry-level exam for police officers. And on October the 24th is the next opportunity for people to take the exam for firefighters. That's another essential service that this community has always supported and has always been appreciative of. So if you're looking for a career to serve a community, both those opportunities, police and firefighters, are upcoming next month. And so I want to make sure we get the word out ahead of time so people can think about it, ask questions about it. If you know somebody in either service, talk to them about what the career is like. If not, call our office and we'll fill you in with any information you might have. So I just wanted to make sure that I brought out that and to touch on one more event, if I could, that shows how police officers give back to the community and not just a way of service. We have an event that's coming up October the 12th. October the 12th, mark that down, at Hayden High School. It's going to be a Battle of the Badges kickball tournament, believe it or not. I can remember when we used to have Battle of the Badges football tournaments. Those were fun, but they caused more injuries than we anticipated. So kickball is less aggressive, is much fun, but there's going to be a number of law enforcement agencies, including the Sheriff's Department and Topeka Police Department and Highway Patrol, that are going to participate in this kickball event. And it's a fundraiser to raise funds for the Special Olympics, something that law enforcement has always supported in a big way for decades. So if you're looking for a fun time and want to come out and cheer for some police officers or sheriff's deputies, October the 12th at Hayden High School. It starts at noon. Well, the gates open at noon. The tournament starts at 1 o'clock. So I just want to bring those couple of fun events up as for the community to support. There's another event that's coming up. I'll ask the city manager to speak to that, and that's the code enforcement section of our city, and the Coffee with Code is something that you can give us some detail on, please.
Yeah, if I could also too, Mayor, our firefighters will also be part of the Battle of Badges.
Are they?
So yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's our public safety community, so that should be pretty awesome. Going to the Coffee with Code. So our code compliance division is part of the outreach, the community outreach that we're really putting an emphasis on. Our code compliance department this past Saturday actually hosted its first Coffee with Code at the Oakland Community Center. I will say that it was fairly well attended. I definitely spent some time out there with my wife, and we got to see Councilman Duncan and his wife out there as well. But community members who came and sat down with our code enforcement, our fire marshal staff, they really had opportunities to have one-on-ones with challenges that we face as a community when it comes to our code compliance. I know one of the residents probably spent 20 minutes with our division director, John Chardine, just drawing out the challenges on a particular home, and it was a really good turnout as far as the information that we received. This is just another opportunity for us to meet with our community without being called, so that way people have an opportunity to ask questions, really find out what code compliance does, the fire marshal's office, what they do, and again, how we offer those services and the services that we do offer to the community. There are 2 more events scheduled. The first one, the next one upcoming, is Saturday, October 21st at Hillcrest Community Center. That's located at 1800 Southeast 21st Street. And then again on Saturday, November 15th at the Crestview Community Center, which is located at 4801 Southwest Shunga Drive. Again, it's just another opportunity to come and meet with the teams that are out in the street every day, really understand what they do, what they look for, and how we address some code issues out there. Again, and I'll take this along the lines again of the community outreach. So our fire department and our new interim fire chief has actually scheduled a series of open houses at each of our fire stations. So we have 12 fire stations. We plan to do 1 fire station a month. The first one is actually on October 3rd, Friday, October 3rd, at fire station number 1. It's actually scheduled on First Friday. For anybody who may be attending First Friday, if you want to take an opportunity just to walk one block over, you can go hang out with some of our firefighters, tour the station, learn what our firefighters do. Again, along the lines of if anybody has any questions or is even considering a career with the fire department, you can get a firsthand look at some of our fire stations, speak to some of our firefighters, and really find out what the day-to-day looks like. That also leads into Fire Prevention Month, or Fire Prevention Week month, going into October. The next day, on Saturday, October 4th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Fire Station number 3, we'll have a kickoff for Fire Prevention Week. During that event, again, you'll get to meet the new fire chief, his staff, and the teams that operate out there. For Fire Prevention Week, this event is really the kickoff, again, to meet our firefighters, try on some of the firefighter gear. You can spray some hoses if you want to do that. And then there'll be information on our smoke detector program, Camp Courage, and our Topeka Fire Post Explorer program, and more. And then the last thing when it comes to, second to last thing when it comes to our fire fighters, there's also Explorer games. These are teams that we have both Topeka Fire Department and Douglas County, the Lawrence Douglas County Fire Medical teams, where we actually have explorers or would-be firefighters. They'll actually be competing against one another for gear drills, forcible entry, search and rescue, hose bowling, and more. That will actually be held on Saturday, October 11th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., again at the Topeka Fire Department here on 318 Southeast Jefferson, Topeka, Kansas. Before I finish up giving kudos to or talking about our firefighters, I also want to make mention that in the last couple of weeks, our firefighters resumed their Pass the Boot for MDA, or Muscular Dystrophy Association. And they actually brought in a little over $40,000 through that campaign, which actually beat previous records. I got to talk to our union president, and he mentioned they turned in three different shifts of funding, or three different shifts of what was collected or donated. When they said the first shift turned in something like $12,000, and when they shared that with the MDA rep, they were very appreciative, very surprised. But then he was like, "Oh no, wait, we have 2 more shifts coming in," and so we actually beat any previous records. I don't think we had done it since before COVID. So I just want to give a shout out to our firefighters, our fire union, fire administration for supporting all of that, and thank you all for that. So that's kind of what's going on with our community outreach and some of the things we have going on. I did want to talk about our city budget. We did, through City Council's leadership and the mayor's leadership, we did pass the FY 2026 budget this last Tuesday. In order to, I will tell you, it was a tough budget to go through a process. We did have a beginning funding deficit of about $17 million for FY 2026. We actually, in order to keep our mill levy at the same rate, which we did capture the revenue neutral, the increment above that, but the tax rate stayed the same. We were able to achieve that through a number of reductions, a number of cuts. This budget has a total of 40 positions that were either reduced or eliminated, or that they were unfunded in order to help make our budget balanced. Those reductions and freezing of positions resulted in about $3.5 million in salary savings for FY 2026. And then in addition to a number of those savings and reductions, we did have to look at some of our one-time expenses, some of our one-time revenues that we had available to us to balance our budget. We're definitely going to have to do some more work as we go into FY 2027, as we have a projected $15 million deficit. And again, we'll have to look at some combination of reductions or other cost-saving measures to to balance our budget moving forward.
You know, I might make mention that it was really a concerted, collaborative effort by the entire council in looking at the budget and working with the city manager, because we keep in mind that what we're funding are services to the community. That's really what we're looking at. And when the community sometimes wonders whether or not our dollars are being spent where they need to be, that is what we focus on, is those primary responsibilities of government. We try to stay away from the flashy or the what-ifs. We really try to keep our perspective into what is important to the community. So that's the one thing I really want to stress, is that the entire governing body and the city manager and his staff working really hard at trying to figure out ways that we can be more efficient with the monies that we do have and still fund those primary responsibilities and services. Services is what we have to keep in mind. When you cut back on some things and the next thing you know is that, well, why don't we have this or that? Then that's when it becomes a reality of what a budget can really mean to a community. So I want to thank you, City Manager, and everyone who was involved and the governing body as a whole for the hard work that they put into it. Nobody steps away from it because they all know they have a part of the responsibility. That budget is shared by the entire governing body when it comes to making the final decision. So I just wanted to make that point. One thing I wanted to touch on, you mentioned it a bit, City Manager, with community engagement and how the firefighters are doing that and how well they did with the MDA boot. And thanking the firefighters for their participation in that. I want to thank the community. I mean, they could stand out there all day with those boots and come back empty. But it's the community that sees the need and sees the firefighters out there, and they want to contribute in some way. It might be just $1, it might be 50 cents, but it all adds up. But I want to thank the community for seeing the need and wanting to be a part of something that will make us all feel better about ourselves when we try to help others. So I want to thank the community for responding to that kind of an effort to fundraise for those things. One of the things that I wanted to touch on too with our community engagement, we have a lady that works for the city. She's been here, I won't say how long. I just want to say she's a very tenured and very important part of city staff, and that's Monique Glaudet. She has been a tireless workhorse for everything that we give her. And usually she'll ask for more. But she is the perfect person right now to be running community engagement, because that's what she loves to do. And she puts out, I think it's called a city e-blast for the entire community. I don't know how many people look at the Topeka website, but I would encourage you to go and look at that website and seek out that e-blast, so that way you will know what is going on in the community. You won't be someone who says, well, I didn't know this or that, I wish somebody would have told me. The information's there, and she tries to make it as accessible as possible. And if you wish to get that email and that e-blast, all you have to do is send her a note at, I think it's mglaudet at topeka.org, and that's Glaude is how she spells her last name. Monique Glaudet, mglaudet at topeka.org. If you send her a note, she'll put you on that e-blast list, and you'll get that same kind of information that is available to the city manager, myself, the governing body, so you'll feel included in all those things that are happening within the city. So just want to put that out there. One of the things that's on there right now is the land bank. There's been some talk about the land bank. There's information there, and on that site you can see how you can donate money to the donate property to the land bank so that the city can utilize it in the best way. And it also tells you how you can apply to purchase that property that's been put into the land bank. So people out there who are looking for opportunities to buy a home, build a home, find some property where they might want to start their first home or second home. Take a look at that site and pay attention to that particular piece about the land bank, because that is something that's extremely important to our continued growth in population and residences here in the city of Topeka. So I just wanted to make that comment about Monique and her efforts for the city. The one thing I know that we wanted to touch on, at least I did, was, and this kind of, for me, wraps it up for what I have to say, is that we're all very aware of all the changes that are going to be coming in leadership at the city. Myself, my position, and other council positions are up for election. I encourage everyone, if you're not already registered, the deadline to register, I think, is October the 14th. October the 14th is the deadline to register to vote in the upcoming local elections. I encourage everyone who has an opinion, who they feel would best serve the community, take the time to register. Take somebody with you who isn't registered, and the both of you get registered. And then make sure you show up on November the 4th or vote early for the upcoming elections. It's extremely important for your vote to be counted, so that way you can sit and feel that at least you've had your say about who's running the city, rather than sit on your hands and wish you would have taken the time to do it. It's not a hard thing to do. It doesn't take long. And I think you feel really good once you come out of that booth knowing that you've had your say in who gets to be your city leader. So I encourage you again, October the 14th to register, and November the 4th for the upcoming elections. That's all I have, City Manager.
Yeah, if I could just really quick, Mayor, to kind of dovetail off of your recognition of Monique and her team's work. So one of the programs that Monique and her team had pitched as part of our Change Your Culture of Property Maintenance was a Yard of the Month program. Yep. We do a really good job as far as touching base with our neighbors who maybe let their grass grow a little more than they should. But we also recognize, too, that there's a number of our neighbors and residents of Topeka that take great pride in their yards. And so, again, to recognize those neighbors, this program was developed. And so for August, the Yard of the Month winners were Tom and Belinda Flynn. I believe we recognized them earlier this week for their efforts. They were actually nominated by some of their neighbors as far as some of the care that they put into the yard. I understand that Tom actually built a playground for their grandchildren. They actually invite other children in the neighborhood to come and play in it. So I just wanted to recognize Tom and Belinda Flynn for their efforts and give them kudos for the maintenance of their yard. Understand that their neighbors recognize them, and so I just wanted to recognize them for those efforts, and then also let the community know that we have one more yard that we'll be selecting for this year. So submit your nominations.
Okay.
Go with that. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your attention. We'll sit for any questions you might have. Any
I know at the
questions?
beginning, you guys kind of mentioned the Western Mall that we got to go with the officers that were coming out, the different recruits. Do you know the number of officers you guys are down right now? Are you guys at capacity for officers?
So we're down 20. So the class right now is 23, and this should put us at 282, I believe, of 285 positions that we have funded or available. So the budget actually, the FY 2026 budget actually reduces 5 uniform positions, and then we have 10 that are going to be that we're keeping frozen to meet our budget. So that's 285. This class of 23 should put us at 282. And then the budget this year also, I will say that through council's leadership, they allowed us to add 3 civilian positions that would actually go into our CSI group, which would actually allow for 3 officers to be put into other assignments. And then we also have a civilian position. We have a TCALC position that we fund with 501 school district that we're going to basically civilianize that position as well halfway through the year. So we'll be putting, through those civilian positions, we'll actually be able to transition 4 of our officers out into other units. So, so we're looking forward to that as well.
I think that's important to note because that gives the chief of police more flexibility in how he assigns those uniformed officers. And I've been pleased to see that there's been more traffic enforcement going on in the city of Topeka, especially around the school zones. It really is irritating when I'm doing 20 miles an hour and somebody blows by me at 40 miles an hour when that yellow light's flashing. And I'm really glad that they're out there and enforced. And it's encouraging because it's all a matter of safety. People get upset and start saying, well, you're trying to do quotas and write as many tickets as possible. It's not the case, and that we're trying to build the coffers of the city with those dollars. That doesn't happen. It's trying to keep the city safe, reduce the speed generally across the city, so there are fewer accidents. But it really is appreciated that we have the opportunity now to be a little more flexible in how those officers are assigned throughout the community. Any other questions?
I got one. So the Polk Quincy Viaduct, we're here, and so what kind of feedback have you guys been receiving so far about this project? And what are your guys' thoughts on the progress so far?
So I think as with any construction, I mean, there's going to be some challenges, and I will say that our Public Works Department has worked very closely with KDOT on this project. I understand that KDOT has had the contractor do some additional night work to keep the schedule on pace. But again, I think that as we get changes in our traffic patterns, I mean, we just have to continue working with KDOT on the communication, ensuring that the public knows when, where, and why. But I'm pretty satisfied with their progress so far.
Yeah, and along those lines, I noticed that in your weekly report, there's a totaling of how many potholes that have been filled, because we know we have limited time to get that done before the weather changes, and it'll change in Kansas like overnight. So we're trying to do as many as we can. So it's appreciated that the public seems to have gotten very on board with the detours and the inconveniences that are caused, because they know it's necessary. It's the only way you get some progress done in those projects. And to that end, I don't want to steal anybody's thunder from Director Gronin, but I think I'm getting every indication that by the end of this month, if the weather allows, work on the bridge over Branner Street Bridge should be completed and that reopened again. And again, that came at a time when it was busy during the summer months. People were concerned about how it would affect the fiesta. I was down there at the fiesta. Those crowds were as big as ever. So people found their way to the fiesta, and they will do that. But they'll be very glad when that bridge is back open again. And if all things go well, like I said, no formal announcement has come, but I think they're looking toward the end of this month, September, to have it completed.
Absolutely. And I have one last question for you, Mayor. So you're talking about your spot being up and new positions coming in. So what are your thoughts on, like, what do you want your legacy to be leaving your position behind? And what plans do you have after you?
You know, I've been asked that a lot. I don't think in terms of legacy. I really don't. I come to work, I do what I think I can do for the city as best I can with the help of everyone. And if everyone's happy with that, I'm good with that. I don't need a big legacy to tout about. So as far as what I will do is I will try to do what I did like this last weekend with my wife. We went to about 3 or 4 different functions on the whim, no schedule, no planning, no commitment in advance. We just decided we were going to do it. I look forward to that in the first, 6 months or so after I leave the office, is to do that on a pretty regular basis, before I look at anything else.
Fantastic, thank you.
Mhm.
With all the talk about the Topeka Fire Department, how are we on numbers there?
So everybody wants to be a firefighter. Yeah, they have a class of 5 going through an academy right now. So I mean, we're pretty well staffed on the fire side. The class, I think this current class should be finishing by the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. But we're keeping up with our numbers on the fire side.
And with the job market, do you guys know if the city of Topeka is hiring any major positions? What are you guys looking for?
So we're looking for everything. We always need street folks. We always need utilities folks. We always need administration. I mean, we regularly update our website as far as open positions. We know that we'll be. I will say that we'll be recruiting for a city attorney here pretty shortly. City council, as part of the budget, refunded our chief financial officer position. And so those are going to be some of the critical positions that we'll be hiring for here in the next few months.
You know, he said something, it's funny, but it's good. Everybody wants to be a firefighter. The one thing I want to acknowledge in the list that you were talking about, the things with the firefighters, Camp Courage. Chief Phillips has been a real supporter of that, and I can tell you from my time as serving as a police officer, I've seen the numbers grow in females on the police department and definitely on the firefighters. And I think it's really a good program to continue to do if they can, and I would encourage at these open houses, when people go, maybe take a daughter, a niece, whatever, who might be interested even at an early age, because that's the age that they take the Camp Courage attendees in, and get them a look at what it might be. It's fun to go down there. If you ever get a chance to go watch them during their classes and how they walk them through what maybe a day in the life of would be, it's encouraging to see the interest in the female firefighters and wanting to be part of it. And, you know, again, it's bragging rights. When the instructors for that Camp Courage are not just local female firefighters. They come from different cities around the Lawrence, different other communities. They've heard about our program. They like it. They like coming down and taking part and being instructors for those young girls. So I think, again, kudos to Chief Phillips, and I hope they continue with that program.
Do you have the number of firefighters you possibly have right now?
I have to get back to you on that one. Yeah.
And with this, too, I know last time, a couple of months ago here, we talked about the hiring freeze. That's, I'm guessing, done with that. And how has that kind of been adapting with that? After you guys announced that, now you guys have open positions. Can you talk about that?
Right. So as far as the hiring freeze, it really became more of a highly scrutinized process of which positions we were going to hire. We actually held a number of positions vacant this year, and a number of those positions are the ones that we were able to eliminate because we were able to make the argument that, hey, I'll give you an example. 2 of our code compliance officer positions were reduced as part of this year's budget. One of them had been vacant since the beginning of the year. Another one had been vacant the last 3 months. And so we've really been operating without those 2 positions. So as we looked for how we could help make our budget, those were the types of reductions we were able to say, hey, you know what, we've operated without them for the full year. We can continue to do so moving forward. Now, if things become better, our financial conditions become better, I mean, those are obviously things that we could look and reconsider. But I mean, again, a majority of the positions that were frozen for the duration of the year were those that we chose to or identified to be either reduced or unfunded going into 2026.
All right?
Mayor, you want to talk about how excited you are about hockey coming back?
Oh, you know, those are fun to go to. Those are fun games to go to. I can remember them trying to get me to get out there and skate on the ice. And I wisely thanked them, but did not take them up on it. But no, it's fun to go out there and watch the team. It's, I guess, kind of nostalgic too that the name they picked. It's kind of got a full circle coming back around. But no, I'm looking forward to being in attendance and going out there and seeing the crowds. It gives one more thing for the citizens to participate and have fun with. Okay. Well, I want to thank you for being here and thank you for your attention and questions. And if that's all, press conference is over. Thank you again.